Good morning, everyone. It is Crafting Mama here and getting ready to do a first WIP and Chat. Hopefully the sound is okay. I just turned the volume up, and I'm going to probably make it a short one today as it is my first one. And just wanted to say good morning to everybody. It is Friday here in Florida, and it is actually Crafting Daddy's birthday today, so gotta make this short because I still gotta bake the birthday cake and do all that. And I'm not sure, we may have some other noises come in as we get going because the family is still asleep at this point. I'm just kind of letting them sleep today. I am working on a diamond dots that is called Yellow Flowers. I did the completion video of the first. It was a 3-pack of canvases that I think they were like 41 by 45 centimeters. I can't remember, and of course I don't have it here on the canvas, so it came as a 3-pack. I've done the first one. I did the completion video of that one, and so I'm working on the second one here, and it has got a total of 37 colors, including 1 AB. And for those of you that are new, first of all, a WIP and Chat is your work in progress, and me just talking about what's been going on or telling stories or that. So grab your project that you're working on, whether it be a diamond painting, crochet, cross stitch, scrapbooking, whatever, and just enjoy the time with me. So I'm going to be getting going on this as I try to do my first WIP and Chat. So for those of you that are new, welcome to the channel. And for those of you that have been around since the start of it a couple weeks ago, welcome back. So just try to get some of this done as we chat about some things. And like I said, it is Crafting Daddy's birthday today. We're not really planning much. He didn't want to do very much this year. We thought we were going to go to Magic Kingdom today, but he decided he just would rather just relax and enjoy some time at home. He's been into paint by number lately. He actually he's completed one, and he has taken over one that I had started and just hadn't had the time to do. I had only done a couple colors on it, and he's gone ahead and he's over halfway, maybe 3/4 of the way done with that one. So that's gonna be, it's like a barn and an old truck. He likes that kind of stuff, so he's gonna be working on that. And I've switched things around. I am now in my office / craft room because I got a quote-unquote real job where starting middle of next month, where I'm going to be working from home answering phones for Fortune 500 companies. And so I'll have to be set up in the office, and then I've got my scrapbooking table behind me, and we'll get more into the scrapbooking stuff later and all of that. So I have to tell you a little more about myself. I did tell you about myself a little bit while in my introduction video, but my passions in life, other than my faith, is obviously my family, my kids, which I have 2. You've heard me talk to them about them before. And I love to travel, and I love all things Disney, which is one of the reasons we're here, because that seems to be the best place for my whole family, is close to our happy spots. But so we go as often as we can, but trying to save the money too, but go from there. But I was going to talk about, I've talked before that my kids are adopted, and I love to talk adoption stories just because that's one of my passions, is my kids and how God has blessed us with our kids. So I was going to talk about how we got our son Matthew, because was not through the traditional routes that most people would say. We were in line with an adoption agency, had done our home study, which you have, anytime you're going to adopt, you have to have a home study to make sure that your house is safe, it's not falling down around you, that you, they do some, like, psychological tests, make sure you're going to be good parents and, that kind of thing. And sometimes I wish that anybody who's expecting a baby has to go through something like that, because then you find out what it really does take to have a child. But we'd already been accepted by an agency, and when you're going through the process, you never know. You have to be ready to have a baby, like, right away, because what most adoption agencies do, you have a little binder that you've made up that have pictures of you and whatever, and then, like, a story about you, so that the birth moms can decide, are these the people I want to raise my child? So we've done all that. We were just sitting and waiting and, ready to go. And at the time, we lived in Arkansas, which is where my husband grew up, but we went to church in Oklahoma, which is where I had been when I met my husband, and I still had a lot of good friends and a great church family there. So we had some friends that would come, that we would go and spend the night, like Saturday night, over at them, so we didn't have to get up quite so early to drive the 2 hours over to church. And they had basically adopted us into their family. So that weekend, we were actually going over even a little bit earlier than normal, because it was a family birthday party. And with this family, and they know who they are if they're watching, excuse me, I've had this tickle from my allergies that are just driving me crazy this week. But we were heading over there for a family birthday party, and their family, they have 3 grown children of their own. 2 of them at the time were married with kids, and then this family is so loving and generous that they just bring in with family parties their son-in-law and their daughter-in-law's parents into the situation too. So we have, like, and then me and my husband, and so there was usually about 15 people at least anytime there was a family gathering. And we just set out the long tables in the living room and a couple tables there, and just kind of have a buffet style. Go through the kitchen and get what you want, and then the guys will close down the tables, and then everybody can just kind of congregate in the living room and just talk or whatever, open presents if it's somebody's birthday. But this particular Saturday, I think it was a Saturday, might have been a Friday, and we were staying for two days. We were getting ready to go over, so we're in the car, we're driving. It was a Saturday, I remember, and we always stopped at this one place about halfway there, and a lot of times my husband and I would grab lunch, and it was a great place. There was a Walmart with a gas station, so we were able to always, kind of top off the tank if we needed to. It was the first really convenient place and good place to get gas at a cheaper cost. So we were getting there, and I get a phone call from a number I didn't really recognize, so I answer it, and it was this lady from church that we had met a couple of times, so we weren't even really friends, we were just acquaintances. She had come to a scrapbooking fundraising event I had, because we were raising money for adoptions, because adoptions are very expensive, or can be. And so it was her. It was, as my kids now call her, Auntie Estella on the phone. And she's like, Carol, this is so-and-so. I I know you from this church. And I'm like, okay. And she goes, are you still interested in adopting a child, an African-American child? And I'm like, yeah. And she goes, okay, there's a possibility of a baby. So, I'll let the other people know, and you just go ahead and get everybody, praying, because these situations never work out. And that's true. I've been told I was going to get other babies from unusual situations before, not through the agency, but through other things before. And so I said, okay, so we were going to get gas anyways and eat. So I called my dad and my sister and a couple other good friends to let them know what's going on. And then we start going, and my husband goes, well, do we need to turn around and get our baby stuff? Because we had a whole bunch of, car seat, clothes, all that stuff already ready, just waiting for when the adoption came through. And I said, no, these things never work out, so we're good. So we continue on, and the phone rings again, and so I answer it. My husband's driving, so it's all okay that I'm taking a call in the car. And this guy says, yes, this is the Dr. McIntosh. And I'm like, okay. And, so he goes, I have a lady here who's, I'm seeing, and doesn't want to keep her baby at this point, and Stella said that you may be interested in adopting. And I said yes. And then, so I asked, and I'm thinking maybe the birth mom just showed up at the hospital and, and was having a prenatal check or something. And so I'm talking to the doctor, and I said, well, how far along is birth mom? Because, that way I would know how soon we might be able to expect it. And he says, she's 7 centimeters. And I said, oh, we're having a baby today. And he said, yes, and we don't know what it is. Birth mom really hasn't had a whole lot of prenatal care, so, definitely no ultrasounds to know the gender or anything like that. I'm like, that's fine. We don't care. And he goes, I'm gonna get a hold of the attorney, and I'm gonna get some things rolling for the adoption process. I'll call you back, later. And he calls maybe 20 minutes later. He goes, okay, I've talked to the attorney, and it's going to be more expensive than what we originally thought. And I said, okay, how much is more expensive? Because, I'd heard adoptions can run, we had been told to plan for $25,000 to $30,000 for our adoption through our agency. And my phone cuts off. We've gone through a dead spot. And I wish I had a video of it, because I am like holding my cell phone out the car window, trying to get a signal, all this. So, well, we had just gotten new cell phones for each other for Christmas, and they don't get reception in the area where we were going to. And so we had gone out of the cell reception area. So we are flying, almost literally speeding, but going as fast as we can to our friend's house so that I can get her cell phone to call the doctor back. And of course, we get up there, and of course, she is not at the house. She had gone to the store. And as always, I have dropped a couple drills, because that's what I do, is drop the drills. So give me just a second while I get those picked up. I am famous for spilling my drills. And usually I do it in a recliner, so I usually have it all over my shirt and the chair and everything else. But so we get to our friend's house, and of course she's not there. She'd run to the store to get some last minute things she needed for the party. So we go flying over to the store. We actually find her, and so she's like, yeah, here, take my cell phone. If anybody else calls, just take a message. And, you know, because she was the church secretary too, so a lot of times people from church were calling her. And just take a message, and, you know, just, when we're back together, I'll return those calls. So I called the doctor back, and he goes, I have everything lined up with the attorney. We're good to go. This is the price. And it was actually significantly cheaper than what we would have been getting on through the agency. He goes, I'll call you when the baby's here. I'm like, okay. So we are having dinner, and of course, having the party and dinner. And of course, every time the phone rang, the whole place just got quiet because we thought it was the hospital calling that the baby was here. And at the time, I was a medical transcriptionist, so I could work from home, and I could work wherever I had internet connection. So I usually would take my stuff. These friends were great. They'd let me, you know, set up somewhere, and I could transcribe after we were done eating and stuff like that. But we always got paid more if we transcribed, like, more on the weekends or in the middle of the night. So I usually would work from, like, and we could work whatever hours we wanted. So I would work more like midnight to 3 a.m. or something like that. So I'm like, okay, well, it was about 7:30 or so. Everybody else had gone home. The one son, they have like a duplex house, lives there, and he went to that side. You know, everybody's gone home that had houses other places. And I told our friend, I said, Mama, I'm gonna go lay down for a little bit before I do some work. She's like, okay. I had just gotten settled in stretched out and laying down, and the phone rings, and she could tell from her caller ID that it was the hospital number. And she goes, Carol, it's the hospital. So of course I jump up, go running to grab the phone, and sure enough, our little boy had been born, and he said we had to do an emergency C-section, so I don't think it's the best time, you know, birth mom's still a little groggy, and, you know, best time for you to come over now, but we'll get everything, I'll let the attorney know the baby's here, and that, you know, we can set up when you guys can meet and all of that. So it was just a totally different way of what, you know, and it ended up saving us thousands of dollars. And so it was just really fun to go through it that way. But, you know, we go to the hospital on Sunday. Because my husband's like, we don't have any of our stuff. Maybe I need to go home and get our stuff. And so we thought we were going to get to meet birth mom and the baby on that Sunday. And we met our attorney and got all the papers signed that we needed to get signed so that we could take Matthew home from the hospital and have custody. Our adoptions aren't that fast, so it wasn't legalized. It was just the legal paperwork that we had temporary custody, that we could get a medical treatment, that we were allowed to have this child, you know, all that stuff. So we go, and birth mom had just had her family had come to see the baby and to basically, I think it's really sweet, basically say goodbye to this baby, because they knew that, you know, and they supported her, and, you know, that she was going to give the baby up, and so they just wanted to see him and get a chance to hold him and say goodbye, which I think just shows how much birth mom and the family loved Matthew. Just wasn't the right circumstances for her to be able to take care of him herself. So I think that's just really sweet with that. So our attorney's like, you probably can't see her today, but, you know, meet me back at the hospital tomorrow, which would have been a Monday at this time, and we'll get everything going. And I'm like, okay. And so my husband was still working full-time at a school district in Arkansas. He was a bus mechanic, a bus driver, and, you know, did a lot of other miscellaneous stuff for the school. So, and if you hear noise, it sounds like Crafting Daddy is up, and sounds like he might be working on getting the dishes put away from the dishwasher. So if you hear anything, that's just him. No big deal. So we were trying to decide if he should go home and get the stuff we needed on Sunday or what. But he really wanted to be able to see the baby before, you know, he went home. Because there was a bus, because he was a mechanic, there was a bus he had to fix before he could take his paternity leave, because the school had said that they were going to give him like a month or two paternity leave, which I think was just very gracious of them. So we're like, okay. So he's like, I'll go home tomorrow once we get the baby settled back in. And the way it works is, when you have an adopted child, until all the proper paperwork is totally filed, you cannot cross state lines with an adopted child. And so, yes, we had the paperwork going that we would have temporary custody and we're in the process of adopting. We couldn't cross state lines for basically a month. So, and we only had like a change of clothes for one day. You know, we had our party clothes for, you know, jeans and stuff like that for Saturday, and then we had church clothes. So we're like, okay, we're not going to keep wearing the same two outfits for a month. And of course, we would need stuff for the baby. So he decided he would go home after he got to see the baby on Monday. And once he got us back to our friend's house, who these friends again graciously said we could stay with them until all the paperwork was done. So they are now going to have 2 adults and a brand new tiny human in their house for quite a while. And so we go Monday. And because my son did not have any prenatal care, sorry, I'm trying to find the color I need, he had to wait 48 hours from the time he was born in order to be released from the hospital. So we get there at like 8 or 9 on Monday morning. He was born at 7:47 p.m. We could not leave the hospital with him until 7:48. And plus, you know, we could have just left him and gone, and my husband could have gone and done that stuff. But the nurses, obviously, they wanted to make sure that everything was, you know, we knew how to take care of baby, change clothes, you know, feed them and things like that. So I get it. I just wanted to get out of there with him. So they found us a private room in a different section, different part of the maternity ward where we weren't going to be disturbed a lot, so that we could start bonding with him. And so, Auntie Estella, the one that helped us, you know, knew the doctors, she was actually on duty working. She was, I think it was a scrub nurse in the OR. She worked in the hospital. That's how she knew the doctors and all that. And so she was on duty, so she decided on one of her breaks, she had gone to the hospital gift shop and bought us a whole bunch of stuff for Matthew as his first gift. And our friends that were staying with us, they were so sweet, and they brought us lunch that day from one of our favorite places in Oklahoma, they're in that town. And it was just, the love and support we got was great. And because our car seat was still in Arkansas at home, our attorney actually loaned us his or his sister's car seat from their own car, so that, oh, I forgot this color right over here, from their own stash so that we could have a car seat to bring Matthew home in. And so we get him home, we load him up, and I think it's so funny because, you know, I haven't given physical birth, but I still had to ride in the wheelchair with Matthew in my arms to go out to the car. So we pull up to our friend's house, and there were a couple, you know, some of the other family members were there, and they said, my husband gets Matthew out of the car, you know, gets the car seat unhooked and is going in, and they said the look on his face was the best thing, because it was just this, look at me and my son. And so my husband gets me and the baby settled, and it is now like 8:30 at night, and he's got to fix this one bus before he can take his paternity leave. So at 8:30 at night, he gets a list of what I need him to grab from the house for our month in Oklahoma, and drives home to pack us up and to do this one thing. And so he doesn't get home until like 10:30 at night, and of course he's so excited and everything and getting stuff ready that he didn't go to sleep until like close to midnight that night. Well, the really crazy part is that the repair he needs to take took 15 minutes. So he had to drive 2 hours to do a 15-minute repair. And we're like, this is nuts. So he came back Monday, you know, mid-afternoon. He got everything done and did that. My cousins live about 45 minutes away from where our friends live. They came down with a pack of diapers because they knew we didn't have diapers. The hospital had given us some formula, so we were good, you know, on that for right away. And then, like, catered this whole meal thing for everybody that was living in the house at the time. You know, bags of chips and sandwich fixings and sodas, and I mean, my cousins are just awesome. I mean, I've thought they've been awesome for a long time, but they've just been awesome. And then they offered, because they have a rather large house, and said, you know, if you guys want, and because more of your friends are up where we are also, because I had lived in their town too, they said, you can come and stay with us and maybe have a little more room. It won't be quite as noisy for the, you know, to have a newborn in this house where it could disturb more people. You can come stay with us. So we spent about a week with our friends in the one town, and then we moved up to where my cousins were and spent the rest of our time there, because that's the town our attorney was in, and so, you know, we could do more things. There was a mall there, so we took our son to the mall, yes, as a brand new newborn in January, but we had nothing else to do, so, you know, we just made sure he was covered up and, you know, didn't let strangers get really close, and just enjoyed it. But it was just an amazing time to see how God can provide in ways you're not expecting. So if you need a miracle, don't give up hope, because you never know how God is going to decide to bless your life. And because we got our son when that same birth mom got pregnant, I don't even know, a couple months later or whatever, they had decided that they wanted the little girl, because we found out about our daughter after she was already born, but they wanted that baby to go live with her big brother. And so because our friend had connected us with the doctor and the birth mom had such a good experience with us, we were able to get Victoria. So you never know how God is going to use your relationships with other people or whatever you need. He will provide. Sometimes it's not the way you think it's going to be, or anything, or the timing you want, because we always want things right now, but you gotta learn that God's timing is perfect. And I'm talking to myself right now because of some other issues that our family's gone through, that I need to remember that. And if you're wondering why I just keep touching my painting, I'm actually making sure that they're all stuck down. Sometimes I don't get them, and so I kind of have to, I can feel it and I can pop it into place. So that's what I'm doing, is just making sure that all my diamonds are down and good, and that I haven't missed a spot. So I have finished this top corner. So that's just a little story. I wanted to, hopefully it will bless you in some way, and I'm hoping that I'm not offending anybody about talking about my faith, but this is who I am. This is how I talk. So just know about that. Thank you for joining me for my very first WIP and Chat. I'm going to try to do a WIP and Chat about once a week. And don't worry, it won't always be all heavy stories about how my family came about. A lot of times it will be shenanigans and goofy stuff that they're doing and stuff like that. And so we'll be doing that. If you haven't subscribed yet and you enjoy this, please subscribe. I would love to have you become part of the Crafty Mama family. Hit the notification bell, so then you get a notification anytime that I upload a new video. And also, like it if you like it. If you weren't so thrilled about it, you can put thumbs down. Any comments, questions, concerns, anything like that, put it in the comment section. I do try to check those and respond back within 24 hours. And hopefully the comments have been on. I've been told that there have been a couple of times where my comments weren't turned on right away. It's a learning curve for me as I'm learning how to do the YouTube channel, so I do apologize for that. You all have a great day. I think I better go make Crafting Daddy's birthday cake now and get us started on some birthday celebrations. So have a wonderful day. Just take care and keep on crafting, whatever it is.